doing what I do. And I'm a slap happy, gear jamming, coffee drinking, truck driving fool.
Wow, that's like crazy loud music. What are you listening to?
The best music on the radio. Come on, this is the Iron Age.
The what age?
The Iron Age, the show that brings you various types of heavy metal music from all over the spectrum.
Really? I've never heard of it. How do you know so much about it?
I'm the host.
Wait, if you're the host, how you drive in this car and on the radio at the same time?
Come on, don't ask so many questions. The Iron Age with me, Justin Sullivan, delivers the best variety of heavy metal music that you could ever ask for. Only on the Iron Age will you find music as ridiculously heavy as Meshuggah and Oceano, along with chill and relaxing tunes like Tool and Deftones.
Well, that sounds cool and all, but I think I'm just going to listen to something else.
Ooh, I think that's going to be a problem. I think you're going to have to find another ride then.
What?
Saturday Night Fever. Polyester Suits. The Brady Bunch. Bell-bottom jeans. And the music of the 70s.
Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Watch that scene, digging the dancing queen. Ron Stevens.
Join me, Ron Stevens, on the radio Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. for 2 hours of the decade of Elton John, the Eagles, and disco. The Super 70s. The 70s at 7. Saturday mornings on the voice of Nassau Community College. 90.3 WHPC.
We'll be back with answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the motor mouth thing.
Still we're over the hill and we're never gonna take it slow. 'Cause we're semi-crazy.
Yeah, we've been called semi-crazy.
Only semi-crazy?
And then some, yes. Back with more Motormouth Radio.
It's like three-quarter crazy.
Right. Ray Guarino, Joe D. We are back, and we're going to do some more fun stuff and talk about car repair and all sorts of crazy stuff that we get ourselves involved in.
Yes. Yeah, and let's face it, like there's no... Well, I guess we could be bored, Ray.
We could be, yeah.
I mean... going back to last week over at the shop over there, we finally got the belt on.
Right.
Which, it wasn't exactly rocket science, but it did take a certain amount of geometry and a little bit of creativity to go around the procedure there.
It's like what did the sapling say when he grew up? Gee, I'm a tree. Yeah, and that's the thing. When Chris and I tried working together a couple times on things, and it didn't work.
Yeah, well, you and Mr. Swizz have, extremely diametrically opposed
we were so opposite.
Approaches, yeah. I mean, which works really good because, if you ever want to listen to the old... The old shows that are on the website there.
Yeah.
Chris and Ray going at it. that stuff, that's award material. There should have been a trophy someplace for you guys.
That's why I made great radio, because we basically were diametrically opposed and everything didn't agree on anything, especially where car repair or car stuff came to. You and I are more on the same line. We like to attack a problem a little more logically, a little more with thinking about it, before we dive into it.
Looking before we're leaping, yeah.
And then, trying to make...
And besides that, in the shop, there's more stuff for you to throw at Chris.
Oh well, yeah.
And and having witnessed the Chris Ray interaction in the studio here, there's been lots of throwing of stuff.
Oh, in here, yeah.
So but usually around here, there's paper clips. You have the occasional pen.
I've thrown pens, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. When we were in the other room there with the window between us and the board. Oh, that was great. It was like a barrage.
Well, that was the best, yeah.
Yeah, I just stood there. I was like, how is this stuff sticking? Ray, what are you throwing?
See, I knew in here, where we're in open air and within real striking distance.
Right.
I have enough brains the little bit that I have to know that, hey, you could hurt somebody even with a pen.
Yeah, I know.
If you hit him in the eye or whatever. But
you're going to put your eye out with that thing.
Right, you're right.
And don't run with those scissors.
That's right. But in there with the partition, it was like, game on.
It was open season. It was great, yeah.
And I knew that it wasn't glass. It was plexi, so
that's why, in the interest of the safety of the two co-hosts, that shop time between the two of them was severely limited.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the two of us will sit there and we'll spout theory to each other a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is pretty good, because we the next thing we did once we got the belt thing done, and like I said, the weapons of prying and mass destruction were pretty much not used. I mean, we only used a little pry bars, and that was more for location.
You got to see all the new versions of the new battery-powered Snap-on tools.
Yes,
those are very cool.
Those things are pretty good. I mean, everybody should know about battery-powered tools, Well,
it needs a couple grand.
Yeah, I know, but hey, listen, carpal tunnel, and stuff like that,
Right.
But then we approached the check engine light.
Exactly.
Do we have like echo that we could put on, like the check engine light that never left?
Yeah. Now, that was the thing. I've had that check engine light on now for a couple of years.
Modern.
With a PO 171 lean code.
Yeah.
And you did bring a smoke machine over once to my house. We put the smoke machine in. And
we found smoke coming down from the lower part by the PCV system, which is fairly common for the Mazdas. I had seen a number of them in the shop. So I was like, oh, there it is, right? Piece of cake, except, it's not a piece of cake because you got to take the intake off, blah, blah, blah.
Right. The PCV valve, thankfully to Ford, because it was a Ford design, is on the engine, but you have to take the intake manifold off the front of the engine to get at the PCV and hose.
I think there's engineers still laughing about that every time somebody goes on the internet and looks up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they probably tag it, see how many people they got.
And the hose is the common problem. Now, just to back up again to these belts on my car had 89,000 miles on them, and I used my Gates belt groove checking tools.
Which is really cool, folks.
And both of the belts checked fine. Still checked fine.
And you still touched them.
Yeah.
You still touched them.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Well, I figured 89,000 miles. I mean, come on. It's time to change the belts.
Yeah.
But, so anyway. So, that was the thing. We went, I have to get the car inspected next month, so now it's getting a little more critical. I was able to get the car in between check engine lights in the past. Now it's been on more than off.
Right.
So while I had you there, I said, let's take a look at this. And
because I myself had bought my one of my fine antique cars there, the old Camry.
That's right.
Which is just about to turn 200,000 miles, and it had sat for some time due to logistics and all that kind of stuff. But seeing as how my daughter is home and she likes to drive that car, I wanted to go over it and make sure it was in one piece, so I could at least feel halfway decent about her.
And we found the old girl not your daughter, but the car needs a little bit of work.
No, there's a punch list on it. There's an axle boot that's kind of ripped, and there's a number of things that got to be done. But
minor stuff, yeah.
But the thing is, I did not have the toolbox with me.
Right, that's
you
right.
know what I mean? And contrary to popular belief, I do not have 7 scan tools in every car I drive,
or in every pocket.
Get out of my! You did it again. Get out of my head. People always say, "You got a scan tool in there. I can check my ABS." I'm like, "Yeah, I got this finger right here. Where you want me to put it?
Exactly."
So we had to go with the shop.
Yeah.
The Autel
Moxidas.
Yeah, no, that's actually
MaxiSys.
MaxiSys, yeah.
Luckily, Mike had his
MaxiSys and a half over there.
And I was hoping he left, and he did. So we were able to use that.
Yeah, right now.
So you were trying to convert grams per minute to tons per metric.
Yeah. Like some of the, Autel is they've come a long way in the last few years, but there's still some things that I'm not 100% enthusiastic about.
Right.
I mean, I own an Autel tool. You know what I mean? And I would never tell anybody to not
But
consider it.
you curse at every time you use it.
Yeah, because it does stuff like, the G-Scan does it too.
Yeah.
I also have another highly regarded tool from a company called GIT. And that's it's made by the people who make the factory scan tool for Hyundai.
Right.
But for some reason, the units of measurement these people use over there on the other side of the Pacific over there, mass airflow, you guys who troubleshoot, you look at grams per second. I know, for me, that's a number that I rely on. Fuel trim, especially like a PO 171, fuel trim load, grams per second, and on the Autel, it was in like
it was like tons per
like ox carts per week or some stuff like that. I was like
tons per parsec. It's like okay,
yeah, exactly. And essentially, when you can't find that conversion on the app on your phone,
right?
Well, okay, screw it. We're not going to use it.
Yeah.
So Ray and I are looking at each other. Oh, look, we flashed.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's interject. We'll get back to this because this has a great.
Here's the payoff's coming, folks.
There's a good takeaway, but we'll go back to the phones here. We'll say hi. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Hey, fellas, how you doing? It's Cliff.
Hey,
Cliff. What's happening,
I wanted
man?
to wish you guys a solemn Memorial Day.
Yes, sir.
You're absolutely right.
Not all that happy for a lot of people, but we have to think of these guys that didn't get back for us.
That's right. You're right, and this is the time to do it. We do need to remember that as always. Yes.
Yeah. Wanted to bring up. I know you guys talking about stuff. I don't know if you ever got a chance to bring up about. I think I was emailing you about Danny doing that 8-volt conversion on that 55 T-Bird.
Yeah. I saw the email about that. Yeah.
It
was kind of interesting. He said the owner's very, very happy with it, and apparently it seemed to give the guy used to have a lot of problems with when the car got hot and power to start it, and it seemed to be an interesting concept that I never thought of. I never really even heard of myself.
Yeah, I never knew about the 8-volt battery thing. I really didn't, and I was in the auto electric business. That was one that got past me. So
yeah, so
pretty cool.
Joe D have you come across that at all? Or?
I have heard about it. And it makes a certain amount of sense because I guess it all depends on what the car runs at after it starts and the charging system kicks in.
Yeah, now apparently this guy at this electric place in Syosset, I guess, does some of Danny's alternators and stuff. I don't know if this is something exclusive to him or not, but he does some kind of modification to the voltage regulator.
It's we'll use an adjustable regulator, yeah.
And then he, I guess, does I don't know if there's something different with the generator. This car had a regular, generator-style generator, and apparently you don't have to change any of the wiring or bulbs or gauges. And
that's the thing, Cliff. The electrical systems will handle a range of voltage. There's always, it's not a small window. There's a range, so yeah, you could always go a little more, and usually the wire is rated for a little over.
Okay, yeah. And it was interesting, and apparently the owner is very satisfied with it, and says he feels confident driving it now. He's really given it the test and driven it hot, turns it off, starts right up.
I tell you, Danny is the man with these engine swaps he's doing. I love the way he runs his shop, boy.
He's doing that interesting. He's become, I call him the Target Master guy now.
Yeah.
He's very into these brand new over-the-counter Target Masters for guys that aren't looking for really performance per se, but more just to take a car that starts up all the time.
Drivability.
Drive it. And I know I've been sending you pictures of that 62 Vet that they basically wanted more of a drivable car. They put the Target Master in. They did that place steroids. He got the front end power steering rack and pinion conversion. They did the suspension over little odds and ends things. And now he's some guy came in with a 69 Scout and with a manual transmission, very nicely restored Scout, actually. And a guy saw it. I guess that was his buddy's car, and he goes, I want the same thing, but I want an automatic put in it because I want my wife to be able to drive it and power steering, and he's taking it on. And he seems to be enjoying that third bay. He's kind of doing his little projects, and his brother, thank God his brother's running the rest of the shop.
That's good. Yeah.
Because, but it's interesting. And,
no, very good. Nice. That's excellent.
Day-to-day auto repair can wear on you, but when you get to do projects like that, that when it comes out, it's really cool. You know what I mean? That does your heart good, because a lot of times cars come in, they don't start, or they have some issue with the car is unusable. Now, first of all, it's probably somebody's uninteresting day-to-day car. When you get it back and it stopped misfiring, or it's now you could hit the brakes and you don't go through the stop sign and stuff like that. Well, that's all well and good, but when you actually do something like you upgrade the tranny or something like that, where you're actually upping the performance of the vehicle, that's great. There's an outcome, and you get to see the owner, the smile on the owner's face, and that's great stuff.
We got to get Danny in here, Cliff. You got to get him in here one of these days.
It's funny. I said to him, what's up with these, what do you like these Target Masters about? He goes, because if I take even the motor, if it's not an original matching numbers car, and, that he would, redo. But if it's just a guy that has a mismatched motor in the car anyway, he goes, you know what? cost me more than that to have it rebuilt or machine it. So he goes, here, I'm getting a brand new motor from Chevy. They deliver it right over, and it's, you know...
They still call them Target
Masters?
Masters?
Put a few things on it that I want, you know, maybe, you know, a little, you know, higher quality stuff on top of it, and he goes, it's a good gig, but it was interesting when I had never realized when I saw he had the IH motor pulled out of this Scout. I think it's a 304, and it has the manual transmission. I was looking at the transmission, and it's actually a Muncie transmission.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
And it was a big, looks like a real big truck transmission. You know?
Yeah, Muncie was the town with that built trannies.